Elyria attorneys Steve Albenzi and Jason Harless represent 32-year-old Charles Koch, who also goes by CJ. We recently told them about a violent incident between CJ and Lorain County Corrections Officer Ruben Ortiz.
Thankfully, you had called me and let me know that there was an incident that happened in August while he was being transported to North Coast.
This past August, Lorain County Jail video shows Ortiz was getting CJ ready to be transported to the hospital for a mental health assessment. Ortiz then begins striking CJ repeatedly.
There was no aggression from my client in any way, shape, or form.
As a result, LCSO fired Ortiz 2 weeks ago. He still faces criminal charges for assault and falsifying the incident report. Now CJ's attorneys plan to sue.
Right now we anticipate filing against the Sheriff's Department, the county jail, every officer that was on scene in their capacity of their employment.
When Ortiz applied for a job with the Lorain County Sheriff's Office back in 2001, his application had some red flags. Ortiz admitted that while working as a service tech for a car dealership, he was told by his assistant manager to change the mileage on a work order. When he did, the service manager terminated him for falsifying that report. Regardless, LCSO hired Ortiz as a corrections officer. After digging into his personnel file, 19 Investigates found Ortiz developed a pattern of problems with inmates and entering inaccurate reports. In numerous annual evaluations, supervisors noted Ortiz used bad judgment when dealing with inmates and would take their remarks personally. At times, he would get overzealous, having lapses of judgment. Reports show that in 2005, a captain wrote that Ortiz got into a needless physical confrontation with inmate Damian Bell after Ortiz threw his radio to the floor. Ortiz was suspended for 3 days. In March of 2010, Ortiz reportedly tried breaking up this fight between inmates. Video shows Ortiz placing his knee on an inmate's head, but Ortiz failed to disclose that in his use of force report and received a written reprimand. In 2013, an investigation found Ortiz mistreated inmate Michael Cadman. It's hard to see in the video, but investigators say Ortiz pushed Cadman against a wall, struck him in the head, and kneed him in the back. They also found Ortiz entered inaccurate information on the report. He was suspended for 3 days. In 2018, jail video shows officers Ortiz and James Stanley escorting inmate Stephen Conley to a room. In a federal lawsuit settled out of court, Conley claims the officers beat him while he was handcuffed. In the video, officers appear to swipe Conley's legs, knocking him to the floor. Conley's lawsuit claims they then began kicking and punching him, causing severe injuries. According to the incident report, Conley was being disruptive, so officers restrained him using minimal force. Both officers were cleared. Then this past August, the incident with CJ was clearly captured on video.
There's a lot of anger in that video and a lot of anger that was completely unmanaged.
Both the report and video shows Ortiz putting a belly chain around CJ's waist before transport. Moments later, Ortiz begins wailing on him, punching CJ more than a dozen times. Even when officers arrive, Ortiz doesn't let up. Reports show that Ortiz complained he was the one injured and needed medical attention. Ortiz also reported that CJ attempted to strike and bite him first, but that's not what the video shows, and now Ortiz is the one who's out of a job and charged with a crime. We reached out to Ortiz and his attorney for comment, but haven't heard back. We even went to Ortiz's home, but no one answered the door. Meanwhile, attorneys are now questioning the culture of corrections at the LCSO.
I believe it establishes a clear pattern of conduct, not just with this officer, but perhaps beyond that, and the disciplinary sanctions that go into, an incident like this.